Hello families, this is a video just to make sure the kids have access to our rounding strategies for their homework over the weekend. So I'm going to go over both strategies that I taught them. One of them you as an adult are going to be more familiar with. The other one is just a more visual way of them looking at rounding. So I'm going to go with that version first. This is the strategy that you are probably less familiar with. We will use a number line to round. Okay, so I'm going to round the number 348. I'm going to start to the nearest 10. That means I need to look at my tens. I know that I'm already in the 340s in the tens. So on my number line, my first 10 is 340. We can't forget that 100. The next 10, if I were counting by tens, would be 350. And then we identify our middle point, which for this one is 345. Our next step is to identify where this number would be on our number line. 348 comes after 345. So we're going to put it about here. It doesn't have to be perfect where we place it. So because we place this here on the number line, it is closest to 350. So that's our nearest 10. We rounded to the nearest 10. So our nearest 10 for 348 is 350. Now, when we round to the nearest 100, it's very similar. I'm going to draw my number line again, except this time, we're going to think when we count by hundreds, what hundreds would 348 fall between? I already know that I am in the 300s since it's at the beginning of my number. That means my first one is 300. If I were counting by hundreds, the next one would be 400. Almost wrote 300 again. My middle, directly in the middle of 300 and 400, is 350. Now, I place my number on the number line. 348 comes before 350. About right there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now we can visually see that 348 is closer to 300 than it is to 400. So we round to 300. Therefore, our nearest 100 is 300. Oops, I left my T off. Okay. Now the strategy that you're probably most familiar with. I put a rhyme to it just to help the kids remember it easier. I'm going to change my number just so it's not repetitive. And let's say my number is 237. For this one, our rhyme is, we're going to start with the nearest 10. So for the rhyme, mark your place, tens place, mark your place, look next door. 5 or greater, add one more. Numbers in front stay the same. Numbers behind, zeros their name. So that means since this 7 is greater than 5, I'm going to add 1 to my tens place. 3 becomes 4, and 7 is behind 3. It becomes a 0. The rhyme today seemed to really help the kids remember the steps for this strategy. Next, we'll do it to the nearest 100. So we'll still use our 237. I'll go to the nearest 100 this time. Same thing. Mark your place, look next door. 5 or greater, add 1 more. It's not 5 or greater, so it's going to stay a 2. Numbers in front stay the same. Numbers behind zeros their name. I have no numbers in front. This stays a 2 because of this 3. And my 3 and my 7 are behind the 2. Therefore, they become 0. The way that this works, if I had a 2-digit number rounding to the nearest 10, let's say that I had 32, and I wanted to round to the nearest 100. Nearest 100. I tell the students, and I ask them, well, how many hundreds do we have? And we have nothing in the hundreds place. So we can think of there as being a 0 in the hundreds place. So same thing. Mark your place, look next door. 5 or greater, add 1 more. Numbers in front stay the same. Numbers behind zeros their name. So because of this 3, this is going to stay a 0. That means our nearest 100 is actually 0. I hope this helps your student as they are working on their homework tonight or over the weekend. Please feel free to message me if you have any questions about these. I'm always available for you to reach out in order to help them understand these concepts.